Recognise her? She is Elizabeth Fry, and this is a £5 note. Elizabeth Fry has been on the £5 note since 2001, and yet many people are unaware of how significant this woman is to the history of Great Britain. Hi, my name is Michael Town. Currently I'm standing in Gurney Court, birthplace of Elizabeth Fry, where 2 plaques commemorate her birth and her work as prison reformer. So surely there is more to this woman than just being the woman on the £5 note. So why don't you follow us on a journey to find out who exactly Elizabeth Fry really is. Elizabeth Fry, 1780 to 1845. Founded an association for improving the conditions of female prisoners in Newgate, 1817, and her efforts resulted in a complete change of prison management in this and other countries. So here we are outside the Norfolk Record Office in Norwich, which is home to millions of documents ranging from letters to parish records and even to pictures, and providing us with a perfect opportunity to get to know Elizabeth Fry just that little bit better. So let's take a look inside. We've been lucky enough today to organise an interview with Frank Mears, an archivist who works here at the Norfolk Record Office, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about Elizabeth Fry. He's also prepared some articles for us and some documents that they keep here in storage. So, let's go have a look. Hi Frank, thank you for agreeing to meet with us today to talk about Elizabeth Fry.
Nice to meet you.
Very appreciated.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, thank you very much. So you've got a collection of documents here from the Record Office about Elizabeth Fry. Could you just tell us a little bit about Elizabeth Fry? What kind of work does she do?
So Elizabeth Fry was born in Norwich as Elizabeth Gurney. She was one of a Gurney family in Norwich. Born in Magdalen Street. When she was about 6, the family moved out to Earlham Hall at the university. So that's where she grew up.
We know that she was primarily a prison reformer, but was that the most important aspect of her life, or?
Well, she would have said the most important aspect of her life was her direct relationship with the Lord, of course, as a practicing Quaker, but then that is expressed, of course, in helping suffering people of all kinds. At least as important as a prison reformer, not so well known, is her work in the anti-slavery movement, I think in the 1820s.
Oh, okay. Oh.
We have just this one volume, but this is one of 40 or 45 volumes of her diaries, her journals. So she was making one of these every year. She was writing down, to some extent, the activities in which she was involved. So there's a reference to Newgate here, obviously her work in the prison. But most of all, she's thinking about her spiritual path, her spiritual progress, if you like, because don't forget she's coming from an active Quaker background.
My mind, too much trapped by a variety of interests and duties, husband, children, household, accounts, meetings, the church, new relations, friends, and Newgate. Most of these things press a good deal upon me. I hope I'm not undertaking too much, but it is a little like being in the whirlwind of the storm. May I not be hurt in it, but enabled quietly to perform.
So from what we learned today, being a Quaker is clearly an important part of Elizabeth Fry's life. So let's go back to the Quaker Meeting House and meet a current prison reformer and talk about what her faith means to her. Off we go. This building is the Quaker Meeting House in Norwich, one of the many places that commemorates Elizabeth Fry across the country. It was in a building such as this one that she first heard the words of American Quaker William Savory. He said, "Take your life and do good with it." This simple advice sparked the flame that put Elizabeth Fry on the path to become one of the most important philanthropists in Norfolk history. First of all, thank you very much for coming and meeting with us to talk about Elizabeth Fry today. How would you describe the Quaker faith?
I think if you ask any Quaker, you'll get a different answer. Okay. It's very personal, very experiential. We have no set dogma, no set doctrines, very set, very established testimonies, the 4 steps. They are simplicity, truth, equality and peace.
I've heard about Elizabeth Fry's high teas, which drew in various members of the high society at the time. Could you tell us anything about that?
It was almost as if people were trying to engineer an invitation to Mrs. Fry's teas. That became the place to go. She went into Newgate and seen the awful conditions that women prisoners were being held in. The straw bedding was not being changed. They were giving birth to children. They had no way of clothing these children. When their own clothing wore out, they had no way of replacing it. And she could see for herself how bad things were. Bless her, she made such an instant rapport with these women. The women were holding out their children to her and saying, these are the conditions. And she says, yes, I can understand how you're feeling because I'm a mother too. So at her 5 o'clock teas, she was not above telling her guests what was going on at Newgate and what can you do to help them.
So there we have it. Elizabeth Fry was a woman of many talents and throughout her life succeeded at many great things. From her work in prison reform, both home and abroad, she changed the life of thousands, and to this day her work and her legacy are revered by many. But what we learned today is only a small part of the history of this great woman from Norwich. So if you'd like to learn more, visit your local library, or for a more personal, hands-on approach, visit the Norfolk Record Office and get a bit more of a personal insight into her life. But for now, if you're going to take anything from Elizabeth Fry, do as she did. Take your life and do good with it.